I love Next Fest. It's such a good way to show off indies and weird games that are in development. So I figured since I want to cover games like that, I'd show some of the demos I played and give my thoughts on them. Hark the Ghoul is a dungeon crawler inspired by Hollow Knight and Dark Souls. It features a meticulously handcrafted, interconnected world and looks awesome. Right off the bat, we're introduced to a beautiful PSX-style world. It's got such a vibe to it. Like, despite how creepy and messed up the world is, it feels cozy. Maybe it's the yellow lighting, or I'm just weird. I also really love the bug motifs in the UI and how it contrasts the Victorian steampunk aesthetic of the city. Speaking of the city, I love walking around it. It's tense and uneasy, but I just want to explore every nook and cranny. The sound design is another strong point for Hark the Ghoul. It's a very warm sounding game. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's the only way I can describe it outside of saying it feels retro. Walking on the cobblestone paths feels impactful, but not sharp. There's a softness there, and this hiss to the rain really adds to that. Then there's the music. I mostly heard this soft, beautiful piano track playing while exploring and even in combat. It reminds me of the save room music from Resident Evil, but there's also a Kingdom Hearts vibe to it. It's beautiful and haunting, yet cozy. And I think that's the best way to describe this game's visuals and the feeling I had when playing. The game is advertised as a dungeon crawler, but it has this immersive sim kind of feel to it as well. It really prioritizes exploration, movement, and throwables. And the levels have a very vertical design to them that I don't encounter a lot with dungeon crawlers. The combat is very hack and slashy, but its enemies are spongy, so you're encouraged to use environmental hazards and throwables like grenades or the cultist's eye. You can also kick to give yourself room, or kick enemies off ledges. The game features a magic system as well. There were only a handful of spells that were in the demo, but the offensive ones felt great. Especially this telekinetic one where you just throw everything in a room at a single enemy. We also get ranged weapons. I only found the pistol and blunderbuss, but I imagine there will be plenty in the full game. They felt punchy and overpowered, but were balanced with limited ammo pickups. As for main weapons, there's a couple you can find in the world, buy from vendors, or acquire from bosses. They all felt pretty unique and weighty. Weapons seem to be the only thing you can upgrade, and there's no level up system. Instead, the saplings, where we can save and rest, act as a skill tree. Increased power, higher jumps, the ability for our rib cage to expand to increase inventory. The flavor text on these are gross, but really cool. In the demo, there are only a couple, but I imagine as we upgrade the sapling, we'll unlock more. I'm going to give a rough overview of the story. There's a lot of lore here, and I think you should experience uncovering it for yourself. The demo opens with a strange, moth-like person carrying a body underground and placing it inside a magical cocoon. Choose a background, a prized possession, enter your name, and be reborn. It looks like we're in an underground laboratory. I love how they mix the steampunk aesthetic with nature. It's just such a cool design. The others in the cocoons didn't fare as well as us. These early designs are so off-putting. Monstrous creatures with human limbs and faces, and bipedal human-ant hybrids that spit and lunge at you. Worth it to fight through them, not just to get topside, but to see this beautiful, haunting view. It's so cool to see this huge red star hanging over this city, but it feels inherently wrong. This area is a safe little hub. There's a couple NPCs, but the most important is Lepidor, the person who reanimated us. She found our body and used some kind of magic to make us like her species, except we have limitless potential, and she thinks we might be able to defeat the demented ruler of the city. And that's all you're getting out of me. There's plenty of conversations and lore to find to help fill you in on what happened before our rebirth. I had a lot of fun with this demo, and it's such an interesting world to be in. It's got about 2 hours or so of content, and your progress will carry over into the full release. The demo is still up, and I think it's worth checking out if you like dungeon crawlers or immersive sims. Withering Realms is a horror action RPG where we take control of a ghost girl and her doll guardian. Oh my god, I fucking love this game. The art style, the music, the combat, it's all done so well. The game has this somber gothic style to it, deep blacks and muted colors, but we get these beautiful pops of blue, purple, and red in the flower fields or whenever someone uses magic. The contrast in colors really helps sell how strange and uncanny the world is. I also love how everything has this layer of grime on it. From Clover's dress to the stonework in the cemeteries, the world feels textured. Then there's the game's music. It's oddly comforting and very familiar, almost like Silent Hill's theme, but a bit more rustic. It's not all comfort and nostalgia though. There's definitely some very creepy and unnerving tracks in there as well, like in this witch's house and some rooms in the manor. Enemies are definitely the creepiest thing here. Rotten, mangled corpses that moan, scream, and even laugh during fights. Just like the world, they have this textured thing going on. You can see their bones and individual muscles. A lot of them have a gross, wet sheen to their skin. They look ill and frail, despite how quick they are to attack. Clover's design is a nice contrast to that. She has a cartoonish ghost appearance, no legs, a tattered dress, but nothing seems wrong with her. Then there's the star of the show, Doll. I love him so much. His outfit fucks so hard. It looks like he has a bloodied coachman's jacket on, and you can even see where it had to be stitched back together. He has a blade for a hand. You can even get a rifle hand at one point. One of the things I really love about him is that he only has one eye, and the other socket can be equipped with fake eyes that are equipment. Like, it's so cool, just peak character design. Withering Realms has an isometric camera that changes depending on the environment. I really love the shifting perspective. Walking through the manor's hall, we get these really cinematic fixed camera angles. But once we enter a room, we get a 2.5D style camera, and I just love how it looks. The combat is very soulsy. It's not super hard, but challenging enough to feel pretty good. And if you don't want to deal with that, there's a narrative difficulty you can choose from in the menu. I don't think you'd lose much from playing it on the easier difficulty, and I think I might prefer playing it on narrative, to be honest. The game has pretty standard Souls mechanics. A bonfire-like rest area, a refillable healing item, left and right hand equipment, and armor. Instead of rings, we get tarot cards to modify stats and weapons. I've found one that lowers the cost of magic and instantly put it on my gun. Melee is the main way you're going to deal damage, but there are guns and throwables. Clover can also cast magic. At the time of writing this, I only got far enough to have one spell, and it was a defensive one. But I imagine we'll get a wide array of spells, both offensive and defensive. Something I noticed while playing is that Clover is the one who actually throws items, and she also holds up the flask for the doll to drink out of. It's just another small, cute thing in the game, and I love it. This is another story I don't want to spoil, so I'll give the general premise like I did with the other demo. It's 1926, 10 years after the occult event put World War I on hold. Whatever happened has drastically changed the world. The dead walk, spirits roam the land, and magic is real. We play as Clover, a ghost. We don't know what happened to her, but the sigil on the floor isn't painting a happy picture. A strange doll is sitting in the room with her. There's a warm feeling Clover can feel emanating from it. As she reaches out to touch it, the doll mimics her movements. Clover is able to control the doll somehow, and promptly asks for a piggyback ride. In Doll's hand is a note from Clover's father. He apologizes and instructs her to go to Pinwheel and find Mr. Bellflower. The manor feels so empty and gloomy. Sheets cover the furniture, books and paper are strewn across the floor. There's even a dead body in the main hall, just sitting there, covered by a sheet. There are grotesque people in the manor. Clover calls them rotters. Apparently, drinking ichor, a powerful healing remedy, can cause people to turn into shambling, mindless creatures. They're pretty hard to fight in groups. I even died here because I sucked. But once I dealt with them, I continued exploring the manor. I found a key and stumbled into Father's bedroom. A body laid on the bed, covered in blankets. We're given the option, so I pulled the sheet back. Clover asserts it's not her father, despite the corpse wearing his hat. She even suggests we take the hat because Father wouldn't want a rotter wearing it. I was kind of surprised there wasn't a sudden change in music to ramp up the event or play into how incredibly upsetting the scene is. Instead, the game lets you sit there. The world doesn't react, and it makes Clover's naive optimism sting that much more. Heading downstairs, the walkway to the front door is blocked by a housekeeper. She asks Clover to find her father, and when we tell her he's missing, she calls Clover a useless, wretched girl before attacking us. Miss Davis is armed with a knife and attacks wildly in sweeping arcs. The thing that caught me off guard, though, was that arms grew out of her large head, and she headbutts us with them. Once she's dealt with, we walk out the front door and into the Saints' Woods. And that's where I'm leaving Withering Realms. This world is so cool, and I'm so excited to see what the full release looks like. BloodFacsimile is an immersive sim set in a dark and surreal sci-fi world developed by another solo dev, Renee McCarthy. This game is fucking awesome. The liminal feeling of the world creates such an uneasy atmosphere, and I love the low poly graphics. Everything is very blocky, but it doesn't feel or look dated. The lo-fi electronica music is just perfect for the vibe, and there's also this low droning sound in the background that made me feel so anxious moving around levels. Enemy design is another strong point of the game. It's simple but effective. Blocky red and gray figures with piercing green eyes. They always have their weapons out, scanning the area and reacting quickly if they spot you. They're kind of terrifying to go up against. The game's a mix of an immersive sim and a collectathon. There are stars in each level that you can use to unlock areas in the hub world, and world tokens that you need to collect and bring back to this really big door. It made me so uncomfortable for some reason. Guns are your primary weapon, but there's also an emphasis on stealth. Thankfully, the first pistol is silent and pretty strong. You can also kick for a silent takedown or to knock down certain doors. There's also an implant system in the game. You can find them in the world, and they can change small things with combat, like slowing time down when you aim or giving you a double jump. On the surface, the game seems simple. Collect each world token, find a couple stars, and return home. But this game is so punishing. Enemies shred you and react so fast. I swear I had maybe 4 seconds before I would get spotted. They also seem pretty smart. If you get spotted by a group, one will normally run off and hit the alarm while the others converge on your location. Fighting more than 2 at a time is a real challenge. When you take damage, and you definitely will, your implants fall out of sync, causing your aim to drift and your movement to become floaty. You start to slide around, and eventually your vision goes red. The only way to prevent this is to bring up the synchronization menu and click these moving horses. How many horses and how fast they move is determined by how much damage you take and from what. Fall damage is maybe a few horses sliding around slowly. Get caught in a firefight and you might have all of them zooming around the screen at Mach 5. And the last weird system is this thing. I was actually able to reach out to the dev Renee, and they said the system isn't fully implemented yet, but that the idea is for certain doors and secrets to be locked unless you hit a certain value on the graph. One door might require maximum violence, meaning you'd have to kill everyone in the level, while another might need you to be fully ethereal, meaning you'd have to stealth your way instead. And I really like the idea. It would encourage you to try different playstyles and reward you with new weapons and items, and it adds a lot of replayability to the levels. I almost forgot to mention it, but I love how you enter levels from the hub. Each level has a painting and you have to jump into it Mario 64 style, and it just adds to the weirdness of the world. So far, the only story bits we get is in the opening text box. We're a criminal and being punished by the Holy Authority through a new program courtesy of the Entertainment Bureau and a company called Video Dream. And that's all we get in this demo. It looks like we're in a simulation, but we'll be given instructions from the Holy Authority. So, cyber mine prison, I guess. I don't know, but it seems really interesting and a little crazy, so I'm already hooked on it. Also, shout out to Renee. They were nice enough to give me permission to use the soundtrack for this video and answer my questions about the game. They're aiming for an early access release in about 2 months. Until then, check out the demo, and if you're interested, wishlist it. It really helps smaller games like this get seen, and BloodFacsimile deserves it. Vapor World is a 2D side-scrolling Souls-like with a beautiful, surreal, hand-drawn art style. It was fun, and the story was really intriguing. If you like Soul-style combat and very confusing stories, I think you'd like it. Parasite Mutant. This game is heavily inspired by Parasite Eve. If you like that kind of gameplay, mixing real-time movements with turn-based attacks and survival horror puzzles, I would keep your eye on this one. I also really like the art. It has the anime game aesthetic to it, but it's not nearly as saturated as a lot of other anime games. Esoteric Ebb is what you'd get if Disco Elysium and D&D had a baby. At the time of recording, I haven't played much, but it's so good, and I love the art style here. It's so vibrant, and I think it's hand-painted according to an old post from the dev. The game's releasing March 3rd, so already out by the time I upload this, but check out the demo. It was a lot of fun and the world building is just perfect. And that's it for me. Subscribe, like, maybe even comment if you really want to. Originally I was going to cover 2013's Dark for the next video, but oh my god, that game sucks. Instead, I'll be covering a different vampire game for the PS2. So stay tuned for that, and if you haven't, check out my other video on Nocturne.